Most traders do not fail because their strategy is bad. They fail because they cannot execute under pressure. I'm going to explain it all to you in this webinar. Trading psychology is simple, but it's not easy. It's basically your ability to follow your rules under pressure. It's not about being fearless. It's about behaving how you should behave in spite of how you feel. That's it. It's basically behavior. It's how you behave under pressure. Because here's the truth. You don't actually trade your strategy. You trade your reaction to uncertainty, because trading is uncertainty. A trader that is still struggling will revenge trade, will FOMO trade, will have fear, and that's how they react to uncertainty. Whereas a profitable trader will have the exact same setup, but they will trade through the uncertainty. They're comfortable sitting with that feeling of uncertainty. And that's exactly what makes the difference between having good trading psychology and not having any. Now let's clear up the big myths. Trading psychology is not hype, it's not motivation, it's not affirmations, it's not just be confident. If motivation fixed traders, then nobody would be losing any money. We'd all be profitable. And confidence is not the solution either, because you can be overconfident and overtrade and have overconfidence in your abilities and still blow your account. Real psychology isn't about how you feel. It's how you behave in spite of how you feel. Because the worst advice you can have is to get rid of fear, to get rid of greed, to get rid of feelings, trade with no feelings. Well, you're human. Do you think it's going to do you a service to block off your feelings? You probably become a psychopath as well. The biggest problem comes with people's hatred of fear and greed. We know that they're bad for our trading, and so we try to stop them. We try to not have any fear and greed. And the more we're trying to push and stop these feelings, the worse they get. And there's a reason for that, but I won't go into that in this video. But you've probably tried it. You've probably made yourself a lot of promises that I'm going to stop revenge trading. I'm going to stop having so much fear. I'm going to feel confident. I'm not going to be so greedy. None of it works because you cannot stop those feelings. But you can stop listening to those feelings. You can stop reacting to those feelings. And this is a far more productive and positive path to choose, rather than thinking you can stop the feelings. We need to work with them and start understanding your psychology with those feelings. So what we're going to do is start overriding those feelings and then behaving like successful traders. Now, here's the part that most people skip, because yes, to understand why you behave like you behave, you need to do some deep work, really assess yourself. And I do that work with coaching clients through private one-to-one sessions. But there's another part to this. And this is really important because you can start making these changes today, and they can actually start helping you get results faster. And the bit we're talking about here is designing a process that supports your trading and supports your psychology, because it understands what it is to be human and what we have to manage ourselves against. This is called risk management of yourself. One is that you must have rules that are non-negotiable. They must be very clear, very simple, so that they're easy to follow. The harder your rules are, the more space you give for those emotions to come in, cause panic, cause overwhelm, and before you know it, you've revenge traded, you've blown the account, you've lost money, you've FOMO traded, and it just gets worse and worse from there. Number two, you need a checklist, a pre-trade checklist that you can actually tick. That's happened. Point at the chart and tick that you've seen that item. There was a study, it was the Netherlands and Japan, that had a lot of accidents with trains. So train drivers were making mistakes. And what they implemented was a point and call out system. So when they saw a green light, they would point at the green light and say green light, or point at the red light and say red light, and then they would take an action, whatever they were supposed to do. This massively improved their crash rates. They went from many crashes to hardly any because the drivers were more engaged. They didn't have systems within themselves overriding, behaving how they should. So they were able to follow the rules. Now, would a train driver purposefully crash a train? No. Their emotions were clearly overriding and making them do something that they hadn't intended to do. So this point and speak checklist, if you will, has a huge advantage in making you actually behave without having feelings and other emotions overriding doing the right thing. And finally, number 3, you need a pre-trade and a post-trade journal. Now, I'm not talking about writing down what level the trade was at and how many pips your stop loss was at. I'm talking about how did you behave? How did you feel before the trade? What was your intention? What were you dealing with? Did you feel confident, fearful? Were there feelings? And then after the trade, you need to assess at that moment, how did it go? How did you behave? What did you feel? And then finally, did you follow your plan? Now, all of these things are process. It's part of your system to support your trading. And what it's going to do is allow you to start learning how you behave and understanding yourself better. Now, that's all going to be good for the other part of your mindset, which is your actual underlying psychology. Why do you react how you react? Because we have to work at that underlying core issues that are going on with you. But this process allows you to study yourself, to study your behavior, to study your psychology on a day-to-day basis as you're trading. This information you're going to get from implementing these processes, and especially the journaling part, is going to be invaluable. This is how you improve. If you don't have data that records your progress, your behavior, what you're doing, what you're thinking, you cannot analyze it, and you certainly can't improve it, and you certainly cannot change it. Confidence is ultimately the byproduct of executing well. The better you behave while you're trading, the more confidence you're going to get. And that's going to build real confidence in your trading, not pretend confidence, which can cause a lot of issues with your trading. So confidence will not make you trade well, but confidence from trading well will make you trade well. If you've just been stuck wishing that you had better psychology, wishing that you were more disciplined, the issue is not any of these things. The issue is that you don't have a process to start improving your psychology, partly because you're not clear on what the psychology actually is. It's very simple. Psychology is just how you behave under pressure, and you need to start studying that. And implementing this process I've just talked about is going to massively help you to do that and actually start to improve your psychology. The real issue is that you don't have a process that is strong enough to protect you from yourself. You need to first protect your trading from yourself, and then you need to start studying what you learn about yourself and improving that. Every day, small improvements. In 3 months and 6 months, you're going to be a totally different trader. So if you enjoyed this content and you think it might help you, then hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I help traders with trading psychology and trading mindset. It's going to make you consistent and profitable. So I'll see you on my next video.